poisoning my subjects against me.
So as you can see from the title of the thumbnail, I rerolled my Titan, and now I'm playing Monk. And the reason is because Warrior, along with melee in itself, is pretty much broken, and that's pretty contradictory considering the last video that I made was going through acts 1 through 3. Well, 2 through 3 is when I figured out the perfect strike build, and then I was just like clearing bosses like it was nothing. It was pretty easy. But the problem with that is that Warrior so far has only felt good. Well, Titan more specifically, at least with that build. I have not played Warbringer, but even from that side, looking at people playing Warbringer and or Titan, it just seems like clunky as a whole. Yes, they've done good at bosses, they've killed bosses, but so far, unless you're using some type of gimmicky Vine Arrow or using Herald of Ice, it seems that Warrior is not in a good spot. And more specifically, like using his abilities to clear just seems so clunky. Like everything feels so slow. Like it was kind of a meme using Stampede, because Stampede, there's so many clips of people going through and like they would hit like a white mob, and the white mob would like literally turn them around or you couldn't even go through them. You would bounce left, bounce right, or sometimes you'd get frozen when you use Stampede. You would just like kind of glitch across the screen, and I don't know, it was just broken. And Stampede it just feels horrible to use. And that's just one of the abilities that feels horrible to use. One thing that really bothered me with Warrior, more specifically, was using the auto attack. I get the idea of building stun build up and killing bosses, like that feels good, but going through the maps and trying to use armor explosion and devastate, that felt good, but then they nerfed it. And now you kind of have to spec into area of effect. Along with area of effect, if you're not using that, then you have to spec into using Herald of Ash instead of, sorry, not Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice instead of using Herald of Ash. And I saw Ben using that, and he was clearing the screen, but I just didn't want to do all that. Like I didn't want to change my whole build. I didn't want to spec into Vine Arrow. I didn't want to do that because Rutu's using this Vine Arrow build that's like basically one-shotting bosses and crashing your PC because you can stack up Vine Arrow and it like procs off itself an unreal amount of times. And I just didn't want to go that route. And even players who have played melee, pretty much like known for melee, like Karn and Alkaiser, like they played melee in PoE 1 and they were mains at it, like they were both mechanical gods. And I followed them and I would play some of their builds and I would try it out, and I like melee. Like I played PoE 1 for over 1,000 hours, and melee, yes, I will still say it wasn't as good as using all the casters that everybody else used, but that didn't matter. It still felt good. It got through all the content and you can map with it and you could boss. But if they're saying it's not good and everything feels clunky, everything feels like shit, then I don't know. I feel like that's a sign that melee is not in a good spot. Well, Warrior is not in a good spot. And Alk started playing Monk, and he started enjoying it a lot more. Like I noticed, he said that it was tankier, it was doing more damage, it was clearing better, and it was just like smoother. So everything with Monk just felt better, and I still wanted to play like a little bit of melee, like still felt good. I feel like most games that I play, I've always played some sort of melee or stereotypical like strength character, but I just feel like in this current state, I cannot play Warrior. It just feels so clunky. Like going through the campaign and trying to kill any mobs just feels so bad. And yes, I've tried out different things. I've tried doing Molten Blast. It's so slow. Like I had to respec my whole tree to get into more attack speed to speed things up. And everything just felt so slow. Like I used Earthquake, I've used Sunder, I've tried other things and tried to speed it up, but it just felt slow. Like everything just felt clunky. Like nothing played well together. And on top of that, Warrior, which you would think of would be like this tanky character, because you would think armor, like, oh yeah, melee character, physical damage reduction, and you'd be this big tanky guy with a lot of life pool and stuff like that. But the problem is, the people that are wearing like these, a wizard hat and like a cloth, they're the tankiest characters in the game because they have like 15,000 ES to even 20,000 ES, and their energy shield can tank anything, and they can just run through the maps and clear the whole screen and boss at the same time. Warrior has only got bossing, and if you're not specking into some type of gimmicky mechanic, then you can't keep up with everybody else, and you're not even and you're just simply not as tanky. Like your life is nothing in this game. They need to fix life. They need to fix armor. Armor in this game is terrible. Look at Crip's videos where he's talking about armor. That video on armor just goes to show that there's kind of like no hope for For Titan or Warbringer, no chance. So yeah, until they fix that, I don't feel like I'm gonna come back and play Warrior. So they need to fix armor. They need to at least address some of the action speeds. Like if they could just smooth out the gameplay and action speed just kind of rolls together. Like the difference between Monk right now, where things just kind of like everything's felt so smooth. Like once I got from Glacial Cascade to Ice Strike in Act 1, and I would combo and then I would hit the bell and then I would combo off it again and I would chain that the whole time. Like that just felt so smooth with Monk versus before with Titan. I would hope to do the rolling slam in Act 1. Boom, boom, like so slow, and then I would bone shatter. Versus like the Ice Strike, I would just get in there right away, do 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 do, to get the 4 combo, hit the bell, hit it again, and then everything would be dead. But with Titan, it was just so much slower. And with Monk, like I know late game he's going to be clearing better. He's going to be doing, I think, the same amount of boss damage, if not more. I've seen some crazy builds from Monk. I'm probably going to spec into Invoker and do some type of like Ice Lightning build. But currently, right now, I'm just running like an Ice build. But yeah, it just seems like the route to go right now. Alright, so I'm just going to go over my build very quickly, and I'm not going to really explain too much, and I'll just show you all my skills. So I was using Glacial Cascade before I got to level 14, put on Glaciation, Ice Bite, and then as soon as I got the bell, I was put on the bell, and I was comboing off each other Cold Infusion with Close Combat. And then when I got Ice Strike, I slotted in Ice Strike, put in Martial Tempo and did Conk Effect, so it just did more damage. And then for my gear, I used the long quarterstaff. I picked this one off the ground. It was pretty good, so I got fizz damage, added fizz, and then lightning damage with crit chance, and also gained 2 mana per enemy. And I didn't even find any rings going through Act 1. I didn't find an amulet, didn't find another ring, and then I just picked this off the ground as well. Picked this off the ground, got ES and a little bit of life, and then this, I just didn't find another pair of gloves, so just melee, pretty shit. This, yes, I didn't even AUG and ALK that. Could have. Um, sorry. Transmute and then AUG it, but I didn't do that, and then just pick these off the ground. And yeah, so I'll go over my passive tree. There's really nothing, just within the first few. I just wanted to move fast and with skills and feel good, so I just went with skill speed, more damage, more cast speed, more intelligence. And then this is skill speed as well, a little bit of mana regen, defenses with evasion and ES, more cold damage. And then this whole little triangle right here is just all ES and evasion rating. And then from here, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the build. I'm probably just going to spec into ice and freeze over here and just look for those nodes, and then probably spec into a little bit of like action speed or reduce cost. And I noticed this one up here looks pretty good. Increase attack speed with 10% reduced cost of skills, which can reduce the cost of mana. I've noticed that this guy uses a lot of mana. So yeah, I feel like I'll just figure it out from here. This isn't a definitive build guide, but I'll just branch out from here and just kind of spec into what I think looks good, because I honestly don't think that I'll run into an issue like I did with Warrior, where I felt like my tree was stuck and I didn't know what to spec into. It seems like Monk has lots of options, and I'll be able to find something. So for right now, I've seen a few builds. Ziz has a build out there using like a piece of like an ice monk. I know Pox also had an ice monk as well, so I'll probably look at those videos and go off that. Maybe I'll copy their build. I don't know. If not, I'll let you guys know if I end up like fully copying it. But I feel like a lot of the trees are going to be the same. So yeah, that's all for the build, and this is all I have.